Hey everybody, I'm Scott Putnam and I am here to tell you about the Swat-N-Scoop Story. How it was created, the origin, the trials, the tribulations, everything I went through to bring this product to market. And as a dad of two daughters, it all started with a scream. We called it the bug scream. That's where, I'd hear the scream. Okay, that's at a higher decibel than normally only dogs and dads can hear. Go running into the room, and the challenge was trying to figure out, how do I get that big bug off the wall outside alive? And a lot of times it was spiders that seemed to go into their room for whatever reason. We're in an area where there's a lot of spiders. So I would usually look around trying to find something, cup and paper or some mail or something to really figure out, how do I get the little bugger off the wall outside? And so all I really needed was a scoop of some sort. So I started playing around with prototypes and sketching ideas. And my first prototype was this guy who's totally mangled. This is card stock and tape, literally, just a scoop. And I would scoop and toss. So I was really using this a lot and it worked great. But then I started talking to people about, they're like, what if I want it dead? I don't necessarily want to save everything. But before I really got into the design of the swatting aspect, I went ahead and I created a sell sheet, a rendering, a video, and I was pitching what looked a lot like this, but I added a sliding, like a little sliding thing that would close, like a little garage door closer to trap the insects, bugs, spiders, whatever, inside it. And I started pitching that to companies for licensing, and the feedback was very consistent. Like, hey, clever product, too big, too much going on, the whole sliding thing. It's going to be way too expensive to tool all that and bring it to market at a price point that makes sense. So I went back to the drawing board and started sketching, and I didn't have this light bulb moment until after I swatted a fly with a regular fly swatter, and then I always try to scoop them. Like, I wished it had something that would allow you to scoop it up afterwards. And then it was like, bow, light bulb moment. What if there was a fly swatter with a built-in scoop? So you could have the option to swat it, then scoop the dead carcass and toss it out, or scoop something live off the wall, catch and release, and just set it free back into the wild. And so I really started thinking about designs and back to the drawing board and sketching ideas. And then I had a pretty good sketch going, and I decided to get some engineering done, get some professional eyeballs on it to see, do I have something here that can be made? What would the designs look like? And my intent was still to license the product. So got some renderings done, graphic 3D rendering, got a sell sheet, benefit statement, bullet points, video button, created a video for that, started pitching it, and the feedback was very consistent, like, wow, this is really something new, it's really cool. Everybody really liked it. So I got a great response, but they all wanted samples, which is really normal. And I didn't really have any samples to give them. So I went back to the engineer, and we started taking that design and creating an STL file so I could 3D print things. And I started our local library because it was very cheap. So the very first 3D print of the Swat-N-Scoop I had done was this little guy. It does have a scoop in there. It's kind of mangled now, but didn't even do the handle. I just wanted to know, could the top part even be printed? And I thought it was going to be a lot bigger, and it wasn't, so we figured that out. And then we created the next version, which has the same design. The handle was a little bit of an issue due to the length and the 3D printing. So, we had two pieces, and we're trying to glue them together. And then I'm trying to do this, and it was kind of a train wreck. And I'm like, I can't send that to a company. And it would, if they swatted it once, it would just shatter. But we played around with, different packaging designs and things like that later. But at first I went on this 3D printing kick where it's like, all right, I need a better handle design. So we even had like a more solid version with, the top that had some lines in it. I was thinking, to save materials, but still have strength with the handle. We could probably put some holes in it, which we learned later that wasn't a great idea. So after some feedback from the engineer about the handle, we decided to change it and make more of an I-beam design. And I found a company out of New York called Shapeways that was able to print it all in one piece with more of the I-beam design. Originally we had a divider in there to add strength, but realized that eventually would create a weak spot up and down, so we took that out. But it does have the beveled edge. So this was something like the first actual prototype that I'm like, whoa, I could send this to companies, still tell them it's not the right materials, but it's something they could try out and hold and pass around in the boardroom and really check it out. So I did that, sent a couple of those out, and got some good feedback, but everything was taking forever, and I wasn't hearing back. And ultimately, a couple companies that were really interested felt like it may cannibalize their existing product line potentially. It wasn't a hard no, but they wanted more information, and it was a lot of dialogue, and then it just kind of faded. So in the meantime, I decided to look into venturing, which I'd never done. And I have a friend locally whose brother had been importing products from China for a long time and had some great contacts and has mentored a lot of other people to do this. So I got some really, really good mentoring from him and decided to jump in and venture. And I was able to tap into all of his contacts. So through that, went back to the engineer and said, okay, now we need some drawings with, based on some feedback. We wanted a wider opening and a, more rounded bottom, and just something that was, we could have the factory create a sample. And so this was the first factory sample. The factory 3D printed this as well, but with different material. So it's a little more flexible, but it's the closest thing to the real McCoy here. So that was exciting. And once I realized it wasn't going to take hundreds of thousands of dollars to venture the product, I thought, okay. I looked into patenting, so I wanted to make sure the runway was clear, and was able to get a full-blown utility patent for not a lot of money. I say not a lot of money, I mean like 3,000 to 4,000, not 8, 10, 12, 15,000. So that was really a game changer. But the biggest one was once I found out the molds for the product were not going to cost 30, 40, 50, 80,000, but more like 3,500 bucks. I'm like, now it's starting to sound like this is really doable. So I decided to jump in, and there was a long list of things I needed. I needed the patent, at least to be filed, trademark, get the domain name, figure out the branding, figure out the packaging, UPCs, all that kind of stuff, which is all very doable. So I found a great company to do the packaging, but early on we played around with different packaging designs and ultimately came up with something that kind of cradled the product, had a hang tag at the top, held it in place, which ultimately led to this packaging, which is kind of cool. As the dad running into the daughter's rooms, I wanted to really, I like that whole superhero aspect. I could go in and like save the day. And so I thought, why not keep that theme, that comic book theme? And so a lot of the packaging, the thought that went into it and the coloring and the look and the feel was very much comic book style, which is kind of fun. So I was very, very happy with that. And once I had my first order, I was able to order a small amount once I got a few samples and start sending some samples out to companies. It's such a different ball game when you're venturing and you're reaching out to buyers instead of like marketing people or account managers or something like that. So these buyers are shockingly easy to get on the phone. It's the difference between, whether you're trying to swim up the river or kind of going with the flow of what they want. They want samples, they want pricing, and it's nice to be able to give them those things so they can move things along on their end. So I would send out samples and with some help created some pricing programs and things like that so I could really make sure I knew my margins and all of that stuff. So the other thing that came up right about when we were getting samples from the factory was we had a house fire, as you do apparently when when you're doing something way out there and all of a sudden the universe says, this is going a little too smoothly. Let's stir it up a little bit. So had a house fire. We're living in a hotel for a month with our family and our 2 cats, and I'm still like plowing through that snowstorm and that blizzard. Like, I am bringing this product to market. And about a month later, as we were moving some stuff out of the burned house, it was wintertime in the Midwest, a lot of ice around. I leapt over this little pile of snow and I came down and like shattered my ankle. So that was another hiccup, speed bump, whatever you want to call it, but delay. So I had to have some surgery and, a plate and some screws and stuff in the ankle, all as we're trying to really push this forward. But really having that attitude of perseverance and doing what it takes, I was able to just keep going, just keep the feet going, just really push. And from there, I got some interest, got my first purchase order, which was super exciting, and sent product to a local farm and fleet chain of stores. They have about 25 stores, so that was really cool. All of a sudden it's like, oh my God, I'm in like 25 stores. It was amazing. It's so fun to go into those stores and see your product on the shelf. And from there, I had thought about Amazon, but I was really not super excited about Amazon. I was a little hesitant, but ultimately realized Amazon's the biggest marketplace in the world, and nobody's going to say no. You just put your product on Amazon and there it is for sale. You're not waiting for someone to say yes or get a green light. You can bring your product to market that way. So with some more help, I got an Amazon listing up and started selling product on Amazon and figuring out the ads and all that good stuff. And that was a lot of fun. So now I'm going to trade shows. I'm in retail. We're on Amazon. And I went to a trade show and I had bumped into Jonah White with Billy Bob Products, who I had met years ago because he had a show called Gags to Riches on the Discovery Channel. And I had gone there and my wife's uncle and I pitched a crazy hat idea. But we got to know Jonah a little bit and meet his team. So this is 8 years later, I'm at this trade show and he comes over and he sees the product and he's looking at it and really kind of studying it. It was so interesting to watch him. I could literally almost see the wheels turning in his head. And he said, "Hey, what do you think about me licensing a version of this? I want to change the design a little bit." But I like the concept. He's in the pet, the pest space now. And I said, "Hey, that sounds really good. Let's talk." And ultimately we did a licensing deal, and it was fantastic because it's a non-exclusive licensing deal that still allowed me to do whatever I wanted. So I'm still selling in retail and on Amazon. And he launched the Billy Bob Swatter, which is an awesome product. I love it because I was able to create my own competitor, but the product is different enough from mine that it wasn't like a carbon copy. So there's some definite advantages to this design versus mine as well. And mine might have some advantages over this one in terms of having the scoop, all at the end for tighter spaces and things like that. But I really like the swatting surface with this product. So this is really fun, and he's doing great getting it out into all kinds of retail and just killing it literally with that product. So that's all going really well. And then on LinkedIn, I got this little notification about this new show that Amazon is coming out with on Amazon Prime Video called Buy It Now. And I'm like, huh, I wonder what that's about. Click, down the rabbit hole I go with this whole Buy It Now process, and submitted the story, and they got back and said, wow, we really like your story. We like the bug scream, and can we set up a call? So responded back, yes, of course, let's get a call. Had a call, and then told, explained like the bigger story, and they're like, wow. And then I also mentioned my daughter has been involved with helping us with the product in terms of like, marketing and even just shipping products out and doing things, boxing up swatters and floor displays and things like that. And they said, hey, would she want to be on the show with you? I said, probably. Yeah, most definitely. She was going to college about 3 hours away from us. And so they said, okay, that's awesome. Here's what we need. We need a 90-second video pitch by Monday. And this was like Thursday. She's 3 hours away. So we figured it out and got her here, did the video pitch, sent that in, and the producers loved it. They're like, wow, we love your story. Here's 50 more things we need. And it was like a lot of jumping through hoops and background checks and all of these things that were just part of the show and getting on the show because it's a contest. And we still didn't even know what the contest was or what we were even competing for. And ultimately, we got on the show, flew to LA. This was in March. The show came out October, so we had this gag order for 7 months that we couldn't share much at all other than, we'll be on this new show. And show came out October 30th. It's been fantastic. It's so fun to tell the story and, do the 90-second pitch. And it was just an amazing experience with Paige, my daughter, and I. And that has helped a bit with retail as well. And Amazon sales have definitely gone up. And one of the things I learned through the whole process, and if I were to rewind and start over with retail, I didn't originally have any POP, point of purchase displays. I just was happy to see it just hanging on the shelf. But to do it again, I would have done that first and tried to get as many of those out into stores or a little smaller tabletop display. So I'm working on those kinds of things now. Through the process of the Buy It Now, though, I had been thinking about other colors, so I decided to bring on a couple new colors, charcoal and then blue also. There's some other colors we're thinking about, like a red and a green, but we're kind of baby stepping it here. So all of it has just been such a mind-blowing journey for me and for our family. And it's really the story of, licensing for me was the first option, the first choice. That was plan A. Kind of led me to venturing, which has been great, but also through that led to a licensing deal. So you never know where your journey is going to go. The key is to just keep focused on the prize and just keep your feet moving. So that's in a nutshell, that's the journey of Swat-N-Scoop, and thanks for watching. I just wanted to, share the creation of the product and really, that through that journey, it really inspired me to start my own company, helping other people venture and license if they want to do that, called Inventor's Edge. And it's new, and it's just been an awesome experience being able to share the story with people and help them get products to market, whether they're getting them into retail or Amazon or both. Having been down that road, I've learned so much about that, and I'm continually working on other products, and we'll be venturing another product very soon. So if I can help you on your journey, please reach out. And I really appreciate you listening and letting me share the story of Swat-N-Scoop. Have a great day. Thanks.